What? Ain't nothing but a little bit of straightening. Been kicking shit popping out daily. Go.
And welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to do like literally, I'm sorry if I'm talking very low. Everybody is asleep. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. So, but anyways, today I wanted to do a recap of all the Grey's Anatomy characters in honor of me finishing the show. Finally, I started this show when I was a freshman in high school. I am now a senior. It took me 4 years to finish it. But anyways, I was just gonna do like a little recap of all the main characters. I'm thinking about doing a part 2 with like the not so main characters in another video, but today we're gonna do the main characters, okay? So it's kind of a long list, so let's hurry up and get started, okay? So first on the list I have Meredith Grey, the star of the show. I like Meredith. There's nothing wrong with her. I just feel like Meredith, she did some questionable things, but overall she's a good character, played a very good role. To play the leading role, she did a really good job. Love Meredith for that. She was an amazing mother, amazing wife. She did everything perfect. She did some wrong things, and it really blew me when she went to jail that one time. Not really jail, but she had to do like community service. That was just so funny to me. But the most powerful scene, well, not powerful, but I really loved that scene where she was in court, because she put her daughter's name for another daughter for insurance, something like that, and she was in court and she was defending herself. I loved that scene, and it's literally never gonna leave my mind. Okay, now we have Derek Shepherd, aka McDreamy. Honestly, I really like him as a surgeon and as a husband and a father, but I don't know, he just seemed a little too cocky. I don't know, like I didn't really like that about him. But they say he was the #1 neurosurgeon in the country. He loved his wife, whatever. Derek Shepherd, loved that character. 10 out of 10. I feel like they wrote him out of the show a little too early. I would have loved to see him more, but he was a good overall character. Next we have Ellis Grey, which is Meredith's mom. She is also a surgical phenomenon. I don't know how you say that word, but she is a surgical genius, and that is where Meredith got her skill from. Now, Ellis Grey is very, I don't know how to explain it. Like, she's very, like, in your face, harsh. She's gonna tell you what it is. She doesn't sugarcoat anything, and I really love that about Ellis. She's a no-nonsense woman. She is the best at what she does. I mean, Miss Ellis Grey was nobody to play with. And I love how she was very hard on Meredith. She did end up getting Alzheimer's, which really broke my heart, especially when she couldn't even remember that Meredith was her own daughter. But she is an amazing surgeon, and she is really tough on people she believes in, especially Meredith. You know, she really made sure that Meredith did not turn out to be a mediocre surgeon. Then we have Thatcher, which is her husband. He was also kind of a mediocre character, if you ask me, because it's just like, he's not a surgeon. He doesn't do anything medically. Like, what exactly was his purpose, you know? And you can tell Ellis very much overpowered him from the things she did, the affairs she had. She looked at Thatcher as a mediocre man, a man with no respect. She did not respect that man. And not saying that's a good thing to do, but she was definitely overpowering Thatcher. And Thatcher, after Ellis cheated, Thatcher moved on with his life, started a whole new family, and that Meredith said she doesn't like him for that. But at the end of the day, like, it's Ellis's fault for cheating. I don't condone Thatcher leaving to start a new family, but at the end of the day, I understand where he's coming from, you know? His wife cheated on him. He felt like, oh, you don't love me anymore, I'm gonna move on. So that's my whole deal about Thatcher. Next, we have Richard Webber. Richard Webber. I really loved Richard at the beginning seasons, like season 1 through 5. He was whenever he was chief, he played a very powerful, I'm in lead, I worked hard to get here kind of man, you know. And they showed us some footage of when he was the only African American intern, I believe, and Ellis was the only female intern. That's what they had in common, you know, their diversity to the surgical field. I love that. I loved the early season Richard, you know, because he was kind of just like Ellis, you know. He was very demanding, he was very no nonsense kind of man, and I loved that. But when he started to kind of fall back, and you know, there was a moment of where he became a really alcoholic, and it started affecting his surgical skills. And there was a time where he I'm trying to think what it was, but he had I'm not gonna even go into that, but I loved the early season Richard. But the Richard that progressed throughout the show, I was not a huge fan of, just because he became a little bit more lenient, and I felt like a lot of people lost respect for him when he wasn't chief anymore. But still love Richard Webber. Next, we have Miranda Bailey. I loved Miss Bailey because Miranda is a very just, don't play with me, I'm here to work, I don't care about your feelings, go do this, you do what I tell you when I love that kind of character, and she played an amazing role as Miranda Bailey. Miss Miranda Bailey is a no-nonsense woman, once again, like Ellis. She doesn't care how you feel, she doesn't care if she hurts your feelings, you're gonna do what she says when she says it. And she has a lot of respect for those who can put her in her place, but it's pretty rare. Pretty sure there's only like 2 people who have put Miss Miranda in her place. But overall, love Miranda. I loved her even more when she became chief. Oh my gosh, I was so proud of her. It was amazing. Loved Miranda. And I'm trying my best not to like go into too much detail to the point where it's like I'm like spoiling it for those who haven't finished it or fully watched it. But loved Miranda. She was definitely a very powerful woman, and I love how they portrayed her throughout that show. She's an excellent mother, wife, and surgeon and chief. Okay, almost forgot about Derek when he was chief. I didn't really like him as a chief. He just doesn't have what it takes to be a chief. He should just stay as head of Neuro. Same with Meredith. When Meredith was chief, it was, I don't know, I just didn't really like that side of her. I like the I'm in the operating room Meredith, not the I'm sitting behind a desk filing paperwork Meredith. You know, same with Derek. Richard Webber and Miranda Bailey were the best chiefs out of all the chiefs, if you ask me. Which leads me to the next character, which is Ben Warren, which is Miranda's husband. Now, the thing with Ben Warren is he was just kind of all over the place. He started off as a anesthesiologist, then he switched to surgical intern, then he switched to a firefighter, which really flabbergasted me, because it's just like, why are you switching careers like this, you know? But finally he stuck with firefighter, and that really fit him perfectly. He's an amazing husband. He did so much for Miranda to gain her love and trust. He was an amazing father to Tuck and the other kids. 10 out of 10 character. Love Ben. Next we have Alex Karev. At the beginning, when he was an intern, I hated his character. Hated it, because he was just so rude and mean to everyone, and I couldn't stand that. Like, literally, I got so much excitement from other people putting him in his place, because I hated that Karev. But to be honest, he was pretty rude, like, throughout the whole time he was on the show. But he kind of calmed down a little bit throughout. You can tell, like, there's some times where the old Karev comes out of him. But the moment when he went to jail for beating DeLuca because he thought he did something to Joe. I seen it coming. I figured this boy is going to end up in jail. He's gonna end up, hold on, wait a minute. I figured he's gonna end up somewhere if he doesn't get his behavior together. So I hated Karev's attitude, which really surprised me when he went into peds to work with kids, because it's just like he doesn't have that patience and that kindness to work with kids. But you know, he was a pretty good character, you know. I guess every show needs that mean guy, you know. But overall, loved his character. Sad to see him leave the way he did, but he was a good character. Now we have Miss Isabel Stevens. I love Izzy because I kind of relate to her in a way, because I myself am going into medical field, and a lot of people downplayed her. A lot of people looked at her as a mediocre surgeon because she used to do modeling and photo shoots and things like that. She was a real life like Barbie. She had the blonde hair. She was so loving. She's the kind of girl who likes flowers and da 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 da. And so I love that for her, that she was able to prove them wrong and say, yeah, I'm pretty, but I'm also smart. And I love that for her. It broke my heart when I found out she had I think it's a melanoma. I don't know, it was a type of cancer. And it was around the time she was dating Alex. And that's actually, I believe, the main reason that they split up, and she ended up just moving. Like, it was so crazy. I wish she got more screen time. I would have loved to see her progress as a surgeon, but yeah, she, at the end, they ended up, she moved, had I think they're twins, but it's a boy and a girl, and we end up finding out that those kids were Alex Karev's kids. And when Alex found out, he moved with her to go raise those kids and be with Izzy. So it was so crazy and random. But okay, next we have George O'Malley. George, I hated his character. I hated his behavior, because he just was like the nervous, shy, oh, I don't really know what to do. Like, I just don't like that. He was very confused most of the time. He had some breakthrough moments, like that time where his hand was in the person's heart in the elevator and he was like a hero or whatever. But overall, I hated the character he portrayed. He just came off as dumb, as I'm scared, as a nerd. Like, I don't like those kind of characters. But overall, he seems like a pretty smart guy. And it pissed me off that one time where Dr. what's his name? Dr. Burks? Something like that. He let George O'Malley do an operation, like kind of like a solo surgery or whatever. And he froze and he just embarrassed himself, and he got the nickname 007. That pissed me off, because I know for a fact George is smart. He is really smart. He just doesn't show it. And another thing that really upset me is that the way they wrote him off the show was crazy. He literally died by getting hit by a train. Like, I don't understand. Like, it was just so random. But whatever. I mean, I thought he was a pretty good character. I left off on, which is Miss Christina Yang. One thing about me, my favorite character is Christina Yang. My favorite character in general from any show is Christina Yang, because she, oh my gosh, she is just, the way she's able to separate feelings from work, the way she's able to speak up for herself and stick up for what she believes in. And she was actually top of her class, which is a really big flex. She was I really like Christina as a surgeon. I really wish she could have stayed the whole show, but she ended up going to a higher position to take off Preston's job in a whole nother place. And I loved her relationship with Meredith. They were like sisters. And her relationship with men never really go well. But at the end of the day, when you're a powerful female such as Christina was just like a very top tier woman. Like, she's very smart, she's very educated, she's pretty, she has a nice body. Like, she's just everything I'm pretty sure every female wants. Like, her level of intelligence is what really amazed me, and I love Christina for that. And she's actually my favorite character. So, yep. Then we have Miss Callie Torres. She was gay. She actually, I don't know if it's just me, but I think Callie Torres is so beautiful. Like, she was so pretty with her long black hair, her beautiful white teeth. But her sexuality really confused me because she claimed she was gay, but then she slept with Mark and then got pregnant with his child, but then raised that child with a woman. Like, it's just so crazy. Like, her sexuality, I think she's bisexual, but it's really crazy to me. Like, she's also a very strong woman because she is head of orthopedics, meaning she worked with the bones. That's something I would consider a man to do, but she said, no, I'm gonna do this because I may not be a man, but this is what I want to do, and I don't care if I'm like, I just really love that. She's very powerful. Sometimes she did do some questionable things, and for that I do not really want to get on her about, because at the end of the day, she was an extraordinary surgeon and loved to get her hands dirty. An amazing mom to her little girl. And which leads me to the next person, which is Miss Arizona Robbins. She is also very pretty to me. She just looks like a Barbie. And she was also, when she first came to Grace Sloan, a lot of people were skeptical about her because she's always just this fun and bubbly person, and people were just kind of, I guess, questioning, like, okay, why is she happy all the time? Da, da, da. And she worked with kids. She worked in peds, which is a perfect position for her because she's always happy. She's literally so childish and likes working with kids, so that was a perfect fit for her. She's a real life Barbie. Like, she's so pretty to me. And she was with Callie, which really surprised me because she cheated on Callie, and that was so crazy to me because Arizona, of all people, cheating, absurd, blew my mind. But I mean, it is what it is, you know. And they both eventually ended up moving to, I believe, New York to raise their daughter and start a whole new life. That was a pretty random switch, but that's how they left the show. But I like them as a couple. So yeah. And then the last person on this list for part 1, because I'm gonna make a part 2. For part 1, the last person is Preston Burke, who was head of cardio at the beginning of the show. But after he married Christina and left her at the altar, he just kind of disappeared. And he just kind of left, you know? Started had a whole new family, whole new job, whatever. But I really liked Preston as well because he was also a no-nonsense kind of man. He was physically fit. He looked very smart and intelligent with his glasses or whatever. Him and Christina, I felt like they really met their match because they were both in cardio, and I can really tell that they really met their match with that one. And I feel like that's why they were compatible in a way, you know? So I loved Preston Burke's character. Very smart, no nonsense kind of man. And I feel like he is the female Christina Yang, and Christina Yang is the female Preston Burke. So, and when he called Christina to come take over his job, it blew me. And at first, I'm pretty sure Christina was like no, or she was hesitant, but eventually she decided to say yes. So, that is going to conclude part 1. I'm going to continue because I got so many more people on this list, and I'm going to continue it in part 2. It's currently 1 a.m. So even if I wanted to, I'm pretty sure I was not going to mentally be able to get through all these people. But another reason is I just don't want to make this video too long. So with that, I'm going to conclude this video. As you may know, my social media is Taliyah TK, TALIYAH TK, for Twitter and TikTok. And for Instagram, it is Taliyah TK with the number 2 at the end. Actually, I think I'm gonna do a story time on how I got hacked, because it was, oh my gosh, it was crazy. So I'm gonna do a story. Actually, that just gave me a really good idea. I'm gonna make a story time on how I got hacked. Hopefully it can teach you guys how to not get in the situation I got in. Like, I'm gonna post screenshots and everything about it, okay? So, but for that, I'm gonna conclude this video. Thank you guys so much. I'm sorry if I spoiled this for anyone. Not my intentions, but have a great rest of your day or night. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video in part 2.